Morning arrived gently along the riverbank, not with brightness or noise, but with a quiet change in the air. The sky grew pale and calm, and the water reflected the soft light as it slowly returned. Mole woke to the steady sound of the river outside the window. He lay still for a moment, listening. The gentle movement of water against the bank created a rhythm that felt comforting and familiar, as though it had always been there. He rose quietly and stepped outside. The grass was cool beneath his feet. A thin mist hovered just above the river's surface, drifting slowly, as if it too were waking from rest. Everything felt unhurried. The morning did not rush forward. It unfolded softly. Rat sat at the edge of the dock, looking out across the water. He did not turn when Mole approached. He seemed content simply to watch the river as it moved. "Good morning," Mole said softly. "Good morning," Rat replied. They sat together without speaking for a while. The river moved steadily, reflecting the pale sky and the shapes of trees along the bank. A small ripple formed and faded near the shore, then another. Nothing disturbed the calm. After a time, Rat stood and stretched slowly. "Would you like to drift a little?" he asked. Mole smiled. "Yes." They untied the boat and stepped aboard. The wood felt warm from the early light, and the water welcomed them as they pushed away from the dock. Rat dipped the oars gently, guiding them into the slow current. They did not go far. The morning felt like a place to remain rather than a time to travel. They drifted past patches of tall grass and small clusters of wildflowers growing along the bank. A bird flew low across the water, its reflection passing beneath it like a shadow that did not mind being left behind. Mole watched the light move across the surface of the river. Each ripple caught the pale glow of the sky, then released it again. The water seemed to carry the morning slowly forward, without effort. "This is the quietest hour," Rat said, "before the day remembers itself." Mole understood. The world felt suspended, as though it had paused between night and day. Nothing asked for attention. Nothing demanded action. They allowed the boat to drift toward a bend in the river, where the banks curved inward, and the water grew deeper and calmer. Tall trees leaned slightly over the surface, their branches reflected in the stillness below. Rat rested the oars across the boat and let the current carry them. Mole leaned back and closed his eyes for a moment. The gentle rocking of the boat felt steady and reassuring. He listened to the soft sound of water against wood, the faint movement of leaves, the quiet breath of morning. He did not fall asleep. He simply rested. When he opened his eyes again, the mist had begun to lift. The sky grew a little brighter, though still soft. The river remained calm. They drifted until the sun rose just enough to warm the air. The light touched the surface of the water and moved slowly across it, like a hand smoothing a blanket. Eventually, Rat guided them back towards dock. They stepped out and walked slowly along the bank. The grass brushed lightly against their feet. A dragonfly hovered near the water, then disappeared into the reeds. They returned to the small house by the river and sat near the open window. The room felt warm and still. The river's sound filled the space gently, never loud, never absent. Mole felt a deep sense of comfort settle inside him. He did not think about what might come later. He did not feel the need to plan. The river moved steadily. The morning unfolded quietly. That was enough. Rat poured a simple meal and set it down without fuss. They ate slowly, watching the water through the open window. "Some days," Rat said, "are meant only for drifting." Mole nodded. Outside, the river continued its calm journey. The light grew warmer, then softened again. Time moved in its own quiet way. After they finished eating, Mole stepped back outside and sat near the edge of the water. He watched a leaf fall gently onto the surface and float away. It did not resist. It did not hurry. It simply followed the current. He felt the same calm within himself. The river flowed on. The morning remained gentle. Nothing needed to change. And as the day continued to unfold in its quiet, patient way, Mole knew that wherever the river led next, it would do so slowly, with time enough for rest and room enough for quiet moments to stretch as long as they wished.